Get it, because it's about Skyrim builds. Do you want to play a creative build in Skyrim? Do you have the creativity of someone who always plays a stealth archer? Worry not, in this video I'll showcase a few unusual builds that I've used in my Skyrim playthroughs. I even have a special build for you at the end.
Warning, some of these builds are made because the meme potential is through the roof. If you want to mimic Skyrim like a fucking nerd, these builds will probably not be for you. But if you want to have fun like the giga chat you are, stick around.
I hereby present to you the funniest build I've played so far.
Please, remove your naked obscenity from the company of civilized folk.
This build relies on the best perk in the game. I even used this one on my quest to steal all the clothes in Revan City. This build consists mainly of sneaking and pickpocketing. Boys use weapons, magic and bows to deal damage, but real men steal clothes and let the cold climate of Skyrim do the rest. This does not do any damage. If you do want to do damage though, invest in the pickpocket and alchemy skill tree. You want the poison perk to reverse pickpocket harmful poisons onto NPCs, and you want the alchemy skill tree to really do a number on their internal organs. Just like that one time I ate Taco Bell. Does this build work? Yes. You can go around pickpocketing people, stealing their clothes and putting poisons in their underwear that will do more harm than it's probably supposed to do. But it gets a little boring after a while. Of course, you can just use other weapons to keep it fresh. Murder! Murder! Is this build fun? I don't know, you tell me. I gotta tell you, there's just something so satisfying about decimating your foes with a two-handed axe, and also playing Skyrim. This build requires you to pick a Nord and invest in the heavy armor and the two-handed skill tree. Your specialization will be in two-handed axes. For that little bit of je ne sais quoi, you can go into the console commands and use the command set skill to 1.10. Now, you can strike fear into the hearts of any motherfucker who so even dares to look at you the wrong way. In order to maximally benefit from this build, you have to get the root thread axe that you get from the companion's questline. The elves will rule the goddamn day they outlawed Talis worship. Also, become a Stormcloak to ensure your worldview regarding elves is accepted by your close circle.
Now more, bitch.
Does this build work? I think this is unironically a good build, which means I have failed as a content creator. Even though two-handed combat leaves a lot to be desired in my opinion, it still slaps the fuck out of any lesser creatures such as the High Elves. Is this build fun? I mean, what is not fun about chopping through the necks of your enemies like you're a lumberjack? An orc with a pickaxe walks into a bar. The bartender says,
"I'm sorry, we don't serve miners here."
Did you know that pickaxes have a use outside of mining? Instead of mining the ores out of rocks, you can mine the organs of your enemies with the fury of 1,000 throbbing cups. Scope out the one-handed skill tree for this build. The axe buff also counts for pickaxes. Invest in heavy armor, cause you're going to need it. Pickaxes can be enchanted, so I urge you to focus on that as well. I highly recommend an orc for this build because they have a special power they can use once a day to double the damage done and half the damage taken. Is this build good? Well, you can hold your own on legendary, provided you use the orc power up. I wouldn't recommend this build when you're not playing as an orc. This build is quite versatile and it can be a lot of fun. The only downside is that it's not possible to upgrade your pickaxes through smithing. This build requires you to subscribe to MedioCore.
Don't do that.
It will make your character into the biggest giga chat in Tamriel and all the NPCs will be lining up to marry you.
I'm surprised someone like you isn't spoken for.
Hands down, best build in the game. It's just... This build is for the people who are against engaging in violent behaviors themselves, but have no qualms with enabling their friends to fuck some shit up. The passive Aggressiveist focuses on alteration, illusion, restoration and conjuration magic to buff their followers and familiars to Rodney Coleman levels. They never deal damage directly, but they put all their resources into maximizing the damage their followers can do. It's pretty fun, but it gets a little tedious after a while, especially because the AI is programmed by Bethesda. I still recommend this build because it gives you a whole new approach to combat in Skyrim. Also, it's pretty fun to build and command a small army. And now, for the special build. Remember when I said I even have a special build for you at the end? Noticed how I emphasized the word you? That's because this build is you. It's always been you. This build limits your character to only using skills you know in real life. For example, are you proficient in chemistry? You can use alchemy. Are you a charismatic diplomat? You are allowed to use the speech skill. Hi. If you have a problem with keeping your hands out of your pants, you can use one-handed. This build will be different for everyone, but it opens up a new and challenging way of playing Skyrim. I have more detailed videos in the description for all these builds. Feel free to check them out if you want a little more depth than I provided here. Goodbye.